Hi, I'm Scotty, and I'm a level 1 chef.
Hi, I'm Anthony, and I'm a level 2 chef.
I'm Frank Proto, and I've been a professional chef for 27 years.
I love ice cream sandwiches because the cookies, the ice cream, putting them together is like the ultimate snack.
An ice cream sandwich, I think, is a delicate balance between creamy ice cream and a nice, stiff, but also crunchy cookie on the outside.
This ice cream sandwich pretty much encapsulates all the flavors that I love. Bananas, caramel, fudge, chocolate.
Today I will be using store-bought cookies and cream ice cream because Oreos are my favorite cookie.
So I'm making vanilla bean ice cream. I'm choosing to do no-cook ice cream just because it's been a busy week for me and I'd like to make the things as easy as possible.
I'm making a caramelized banana and fudge ice cream. I'm choosing to do a custard method, which is basically I'm gonna cook my cream and milk, and then I'm gonna cook my eggs with it. First thing I'm gonna do is get my vanilla bean and I'm gonna cut it straight down the middle.
Oh, almost. And now I'm just running my knife down the inside to help pull off all these vanilla seeds.
The rest of the vanilla pod goes into the cream. I'm going to add my milk and my cream.
And I'm gonna add the sugar. I love the simplicity of this recipe. This is it. No eggs were harmed in the making of this ice cream.
You can make ice cream without eggs. The custard just tends to be a little richer, a little more velvety. So while that's getting hot, I'm gonna add my sugar and my egg yolks to the mixer.
I have not ever made ice cream from scratch. I feel like just the thought of it makes me a little nervous.
I'm heating the milk until it comes to a light simmer, and then I'm going to temper the milk into the eggs.
Tempering sounds like making sure something is the right temperature.
Tempering basically means heating the egg yolks and sugar up slowly so they don't curdle when they go back in the pot with the cream. So we're gonna go back into the pot and we're gonna let the custard finish cooking and thicken up. The next step will be to strain this. Now that I've made the custard, I'm gonna let it chill completely. And once it's chilled completely, we can spin it in the ice cream maker.
All right, so I'm gonna let this steep in the fridge for about 2 hours to help pull out all that vanilla flavor.
Look at that. Go ahead with your ice cream scooper. So I like using an ice cream scooper because I've broken a lot of spoons. This is so much easier than making my own ice cream.
The next part for my ice cream is the bananas. And these are basically gonna get mixed into my custard base. I'm gonna heat my sugar up until it starts to melt. As it melts, it goes from sweeter, it starts to caramelize, and then it starts to get a little bit of bitterness as it gets browner. And that bitterness is a great counterpoint to the sweetness. We can add our cream. I'm just gonna whisk that in. I'm gonna add my brandy now as well. And a nice hefty pinch of salt. So now we have that nice caramel, my bananas can go in. Now the bananas are kind of part of the caramel and it's all one, and that's what I want. I need this to chill completely, at least 2 hours, because if it goes into our ice cream and it's warm, it's not gonna freeze right. You know, as a chef, we tend to overcomplicate things. So what am I doing? I'm making fudge as well. It's basically taking some coffee, some corn syrup, some sugar, some cocoa powder, and some vanilla, and just cooking it until it gets a nice glossy, fudgy consistency. I'm gonna let this fudge chill until it's completely cold.
All right, now that my ice cream has chilled in the fridge, I went ahead and pulled out the vanilla bean chunks. It's got a freezing cold base in here that will end up freezing the ice cream, and it starts churning it, so that way it kind of chills down and freezes at an even rate. And now I can add this to the ice cream machine. It's so simple to use.
My caramelized bananas and my ice cream base are fully chilled, and I'm gonna puree them up so they're fully combined. I'm gonna put this in. This is a home version of a commercial ice cream machine. It has the chilling mechanism inside. A lot of times people will use the bowl that freezes and then you spin it, but this machine does the freezing and the spinning, and it's all contained in one. I'm gonna let this spin until the custard becomes like a soft serve ice cream.
Now that my ice cream's been churning for about 20 minutes, it's at the perfect soft servey kind of consistency to transfer to a container. So now I'm gonna let this freeze until it firms up.
There we go.
My ice cream's been churning for a little over an hour. Now what I'm gonna do is take my fudge and swirl it into my ice cream. Now I'm gonna freeze this until it's firm and scoopable.
So now I'm gonna work on the cookies. I am making a classic chocolate chip cookie with store-bought cookie dough. Chocolate chip cookies are my favorite cookie, even though I did just say Oreos were my favorite cookie.
I'm going with a brown butter cookie for 2 reasons. 1, because it's gonna give me a nice crunch, and 2, that brown butter flavor is gonna complement the vanilla bean ice cream perfectly.
And what I'm gonna use is a pizzelle, a small, crispy Italian waffle. I had just had these with my father, and I'm like, this would make a great ice cream sandwich. I'm gonna add sugar and espresso powder. The espresso will give the chocolate a more chocolatey flavor.
A very light spray of cooking spray on the pan. So I'm gonna make these cookies by taking a spoon, scooping out a perfect amount. Little rolling process, doesn't have to be a perfect circle.
Just gonna add my flour to my bowl. Next, my baking soda, baking powder, and my kosher salt.
So I'm gonna add my eggs in, and I'm just gonna turn it on and let it go.
I'm just gonna give it a whisk to distribute everything nice and evenly.
I'm gonna add just a pinch of salt right now, and I'm adding my cocoa powder.
This is just regular butter that I cooked over medium heat until it was brown. The brown butter is gonna add a nice kind of toffee-ish type flavor. My light brown sugar.
And my baking powder.
Cool.
I'm gonna add my butter.
My egg yolk, my almond extract, and my vanilla extract.
We'll add our flour.
So my batter is pretty well mixed. I'm just gonna start pulling off small chunks to roll in our sugar. Because I like that little extra bit of sweetness and the nice kind of crunch that you get on the outside.
What I'm gonna do is just flatten them out just a tad, and I will put it down on our tray.
Now that I have the batter made for the cookies, I'm going to put it into this pizzelle iron. Basically, it's just a smaller waffle iron that's gonna make a nice thin cookie rather than a thick, deep waffle. Just push them down a little, and then I'm gonna clamp it closed. Squeeze it, shut. I think I put too much in. Holy cow.
Preheat the oven to 350, bake 12 to 13 minutes or until golden brown. All right, that's what I'm gonna do.
Now I'm gonna let my cookies bake in the oven for about 14 minutes.
All right, so you can see that the cookie is starting to brown a little. It's still a little soft. I'm gonna put it on my tray to chill. As they chill, they'll start to harden, and that's what I want for my finished cookie.
Nice. They came out perfect.
These are huge.
And now I'm gonna work on my toppings. I'm working with magic shell chocolate and crushed Oreo cookies.
I'm gonna be making candied pistachios. I love that it brings a crispy, crunchy texture to the ice cream sandwich.
The topping I'm making for my ice cream sandwich is a peanut praline. I think that peanuts, banana, and fudge go great together.
Magic shell chocolate is chocolate that freezes in seconds. Change the way I look at ice cream. I will make sure I shake this extremely well. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into the bowl to make the dipping process easier.
I'm gonna add the pistachio nuts and the sugar to the pan over about medium heat until the sugar starts to caramelize and the pistachios get just a little bit toasted.
To make the praline, I'm gonna cook some sugar. I'm gonna add my cream, my baking soda. The baking soda is gonna add a little lightness, a little airiness. I'm cooking the sugar mixture to 240 degrees, which is right before the hard ball stage, which means that the sugar is firm enough that it's gonna hold its shape, but it's also gonna break fairly easily.
So now that my pistachios are toasted and the sugar is sticking to the nuts, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and add just a pinch of cayenne, just a little bit of heat. My candy pistachios are gonna be just a little bit sweet, a little salty, a little crunchy, and then a little tiny bit spicy.
I'm going to add my vanilla and my butter. Try not to splash it on yourself and stir. Once those are mixed in, peanuts go in, mix. And I'm gonna go right onto a Silpat, which is a non-stick silicone pad. I'm gonna let this chill on the counter. I'm not gonna put it in the fridge. You get a lot of moisture from the refrigerator, and I don't wanna get that moisture. I'm just gonna let it chill until it's cool enough to break up into little pieces.
So I'm going to grab about 6 cookies to start. I'll put it in the bag, close it up good. So I'm crushing them up, and I will pour them in my bowl for easier use.
Now that my peanut praline is cool, I'm gonna throw it in the food processor and just give it a quick blitz.
So now it's time to build my ice cream sandwiches. So I got my cookie. I'll come in here, grab my choice scoop of ice cream. So I have to make sure it's the perfect size.
And then just very gently press down on it.
Not gonna push the cookie down because the cookie will crack.
Make sure it's lined up.
Now I'm applying even pressure to the entire cookie.
And just kind of mush it together, nice and easy. And I'm just gonna roll it in my praline to get it all along the edges, make sure it sticks.
So with the magic shell, I'm just gonna roll the edges of the ice cream sandwich in the shell, and then straight from there, right into the Oreos.
Position the sandwich completely vertically, and then roll.
And now I will plate my sandwiches to make them look as delicious as possible.
Plating is simple for this. All I really have to do is take one of my sandwiches and put it there. Look at that.
And these are my ice cream sandwiches.
This is my vanilla ice cream sandwich on a brown butter cookie with candied pistachios.
This is my caramelized banana and fudge ice cream sandwich with a chocolate pizzelle and peanut praline.
I'm excited to try this. I really am.
Everything about this sandwich screams, eat me really fast, get me in your belly.
I'm pretty impressed with myself for having pulled this off.
The ice cream, obviously delicious. The magic shell with the Oreos, you might think, oh, too much chocolate. Never enough chocolate.
That flavor combination is incredible. The vanilla with the pistachios, the candy, oh, so good. That brown butter comes through in the end.
This is everything I dreamed it would be and more. Some guys have fantasy football. I have fantasy ice cream sandwiches. This wins in every single draft in the world.
Ice cream sandwiches are something everyone can love. There are so many options. Let's see how each of our chefs made theirs. Scotty used store-bought ice cream. Commercial ice creams usually have emulsifiers added to keep all of the various components together in one cold, creamy mixture. You'll see proteins or starch-based plant gums or algae-based polysaccharides added. All ice cream has some air added as part of the churning process. Without the air, you would have a block of sweetened cream that would be really hard to scoop and eat. Anthony made one of the two main types of ice cream. His was a no-cook ice cream base, also known as a standard or Philadelphia style ice cream, and it's made simply with milk, cream, and sugar as the base. Frank made the other style of ice cream called custard or French style ice cream, which includes egg yolks. Egg yolks contain lecithin, phosphatidylcholine, and proteins that act as the emulsifiers for the base of his milk, cream, and sugar. Because egg yolks coagulate at a relatively low temperature, around 155 degrees Fahrenheit, Frank needed to temper his eggs. Making a custard style ice cream like Frank did requires a lot of technique and is definitely a level 3 elevation. Frank made chocolate pizzelles. Pizzelles are cooked by conduction, which means that the hot griddle comes in direct contact with the batter, both on top and bottom, transferring heat directly, molecule to molecule, from the griddle to the batter, making them thin and crispy.
This would make a great ice cream sandwich.
The batter is dehydrated, which then allows browning reactions to progress between the starches, sugars, and proteins. When baking cookies in the oven, like Scotty and Anthony did, the bottom of the cookie is quickly baked by conduction. However, the top is baked by waves of radiant energy that travel through the air, heating it, that originates from a heating element in the oven. It's why the tops are softer and dome-shaped, and the bottoms are dark and crispy. Scotty dipped his sandwich in magic shell chocolate. The magic of this product is that it contains alkalized cocoa, milk, and emulsifiers like lecithin, combined with coconut and sunflower oil that hardens when cold, like when it's poured on ice cream. Anthony toasted pistachios in sugar. Pistachios contain small amounts of free sugars, making them noticeably sweet.
Why are they green? It doesn't make any sense to me.
These nuts are partially green from chlorophyll, which makes them pretty too. Frank made handmade praline by first caramelizing sugar to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the soft ball stage, so named because if you drop some of the sugar at this temperature into cold water, it forms balls that are only lightly colored and still soft and pliable. Ice cream sandwiches aren't just a summertime snack. They are wonderful all year long. Next time you're in the mood for a sweet treat, we hope you'll take some of these tips from our 3 wonderful chefs.